cheating ex wants his pregnant wife back, but she's already living the dream with a millionaire. Marissa Lewis once believed her marriage to Daniel was unbreakable. She stood by him through sleepless nights and endless bills, all to chase a humble dream of stability. Yet everything shattered when she caught Daniel in the arms of another woman. Pregnant and heartbroken, Marissa fled the life she had known. But fate had other plans. She soon crossed paths with Gregory Ashford, a self-made millionaire whose gentle spirit and lavish world offered her safety and hope. Now, as Marissa's belly grows and she basks in a dream life of compassion and luxury, Daniel reappears unexpectedly, begging for another chance. What follows will set tongues wagging and hearts racing. Marissa Lewis never considered herself a hopeless romantic. She'd grown up in a modest suburb near Houston, Texas, the eldest of 3 siblings in a family that prized hard work over daydreams. When she first met Daniel at a local community college, he seemed the perfect partner, charismatic, kind-hearted, quick to laugh. Their wedding, though small, felt like the start of a shared adventure, built on love and the promise of forging a better life. For a year or two, that promise held strong. Daniel toiled as an assistant manager at a local hardware store, working weekends to climb the ranks. Marissa found a job at an administrative office, juggling paperwork and phone calls with an unwavering sense of duty. They pooled paychecks to cover rent and chipped away at Daniel's student loans. The big dream was eventually buying a little house, perhaps starting a family in a quiet cul-de-sac. But not all illusions can withstand harsh reality. Over time, Daniel's restlessness grew. He'd come home late, complaining about the store's slow promotions or co-worker politics. He yearned for more money, more excitement. Marissa, naturally grounded, reassured him that patience would pay off. Unfortunately, Daniel's ambition took a dark turn. The first sign was a sly phone call. Marissa overheard a hushed conversation that ended with a suspicious "I miss you too." She brushed it aside, telling herself it must be an old friend. But soon, Daniel's late nights multiplied. His phone screen seemed always flipped down when Marissa entered the room. A swirl of dread gnawed at her heart, though she forced a smile, telling herself she should trust her husband. The final straw hit like a punch to the gut. Marissa returned home early one Saturday, a day she was meant to be out with her sister. She found Daniel and a woman named Andrea entangled on the sofa. The shock knocked the breath from her lungs. She stood there, frozen, as Daniel sprang up, stammering half-formed excuses. Andrea, gathering her coat, muttered a dismissive apology. The moment seared itself into Marissa's memory, her husband's face alight with guilt, the stench of betrayal heavy in the air. In that instant, love burned to ash. No explanation could mend the rift. Marissa recalled Daniel's pleas afterward, how he swore it was a fling, a stupid mistake. But the truth was out. He had chosen excitement and lust over their vows. Marissa's heartbreak was magnified by another concealed secret only a week prior. She'd learned she was pregnant. Now, that precious news felt like a cruel trick from fate. Unsure how to salvage trust, Marissa packed a suitcase and left. Pride and sorrow warred in her chest as she navigated a new, lonely horizon. She took refuge in a tiny motel first, then sought help from a friend in Houston. She refused to answer Daniel's calls, his frantic texts insisting he'd change. For her unborn child's sake and her own dignity, Marissa knew she had to stand firm. Little did she realize that across the city, a chance encounter with a self-made millionaire named Gregory Ashford was about to redraw the map of her life. Daniel's betrayal was only the prologue to a story neither of them could predict, one that would test the boundaries of regret, redemption, and the unexpected power of second chances. Marissa found temporary sanctuary in a cozy one-bedroom that belonged to her childhood friend, Tanya. a single professional who traveled often for work. Tanya offered the place rent-free while away in Europe. Marissa jumped at the lifeline. Her meager savings couldn't stretch far, not with a baby on the way. Despite the heartbreak, she adopted a steady routine. Each morning, she swallowed her pain, busied herself with job applications, determined to secure a future for her child. By afternoon, she ventured out for long walks, letting the Houston sunshine warm her shoulders. The baby's presence in her belly was a solace. Each fluttering movement reminded her she wasn't alone. During one such outing, she ambled through the local farmers' market. Amid stalls of fresh produce and artisan crafts, she chanced upon an older gentleman named Mr. Caldwell. He'd once been a neighbor of her parents, recognized her, and struck up conversation. As they chatted, a passing mention of a philanthropic event for local businesses emerged. Mr. Caldwell insisted Marissa attend, claiming the networking might help her find a stable job. Feeling she had little to lose, Marissa agreed. She'd always disliked formal events, but necessity overruled reluctance. A few days later, wearing a simple dress that fit her blossoming figure, she arrived at the charity gala hosted in a swanky downtown ballroom. She felt out of place among the swirl of cocktails and expensive suits. Still, she pressed a polite smile, determined to hand out resumes or glean any career tips. And that's when she spotted him, Gregory Ashford, the entrepreneur who'd rocketed to success with a series of tech startups in Dallas before branching into real estate across Texas. He was known in local circles for his philanthropic initiatives, a quiet, unassuming man in his early 40s who had an uncanny knack for turning modest ventures into gold. Marissa recognized him from a magazine profile where he'd been lauded as the Texas mogul with a heart of gold. She watched from a distance, curious but not expecting to approach. Fate had other ideas. As she navigated the crowd, her foot snagged on a loose carpet edge, sending her stumbling. In an almost cinematic moment, a strong arm reached out to steady her. She looked up, heart pounding, to find Gregory himself smiling kindly. "Careful," he said. "These floors can be tricky." Embarrassment flooded her cheeks. "Thank you. I'm sorry. Clumsy me." He chuckled softly, eyes warm. "No harm done. You're pregnant? Are you feeling all right?" She nodded, blinking away tears of humiliation. "Yes, about 4 months along. Just. Not used to heels, I guess." He gently guided her to a nearby seat, offering water. "Let me guess, new to these big events." She managed a wry smile. "Is it that obvious?" Thus began the conversation that lasted the entire evening. She told him bits about her desire for stable work, her uncertain future. He listened intently, not once prying for details about her personal heartbreak. By night's end, she realized she'd found a rare soul who seemed genuinely interested in helping, not judging. When the gala ended, Gregory insisted on seeing her safely home, ensuring she navigated the sidewalks without further tumbles. Marissa, wary of rich men after Daniel's fiasco, felt torn, yet something about Gregory's understated kindness chipped at her defenses. She waved him off with a grateful nod, never guessing that this single encounter was the opening note in a new symphony of her life, one that would overshadow the heartbreak Daniel inflicted. Within days, Gregory contacted Marissa again, having secured her number from Mr. Caldwell. He proposed a meeting at a quaint cafe downtown, away from the prying eyes of the upper crust. Over mugs of fragrant tea, Gregory explained a position in his foundation, an administrative role overseeing community outreach projects, perfect for someone with her skill set. He offered a modest yet stable salary, flexible hours, mindful of her pregnancy. The generosity floored her. Marissa had begun to settle into the routine of working at Gregory's foundation. The office was welcoming, and Gregory himself remained kind and professional, never crossing any boundaries. But one evening, as she unpacked some books in her new home, she stumbled upon an old leather-bound journal tucked away in a drawer. She hesitated, knowing it wasn't her place to pry, but something about the worn edges and the initials EL embossed on the cover made her curious. Flipping through the pages, she found handwritten notes in an elegant script. They weren't business records or schedules, they were letters, never sent. The words were filled with longing, apologies, and regret. I should have fought harder for us. I built an empire, but I lost what mattered most. The entries ended abruptly, as if the writer had given up on writing or on hope itself. The next morning, Marissa cautiously approached Gregory in his office, holding the journal. "I found this while unpacking," she said. "I wasn't snooping, I promise." Gregory stared at the journal for a long moment before exhaling. "You weren't supposed to see that." His voice was softer than usual, tinged with an emotion she hadn't heard before. "Who is EL?" she asked gently. He hesitated before answering. "Eleanor Lawson, my ex-fiancée." Marissa sat down, sensing this was something he needed to share. "I was engaged once, years ago," he admitted. "She was the love of my life, or at least, I thought she was. But I got caught up in work. I kept choosing my career over our relationship, promising I'd have more time for her one day. Eventually, she stopped believing me. She walked away, and by the time I realized what I had lost, it was too late." His fingers traced the edge of the journal. "I threw myself into philanthropy, trying to fix other people's lives, maybe to atone for not fixing my own." He looked up at Marissa, a wry smile on his lips. "And then I met you." A warmth spread through her chest. He wasn't just a generous businessman. He was a man who had known heartbreak, who had suffered the consequences of misplaced priorities. For the first time, she felt truly safe with him. "Why are you doing this?" she asked quietly, suspecting pity. He shook his head. "I help promising people find their footing. You're clearly capable, you just need a chance. If you dislike it, you can walk away, no hard feelings." She accepted, heart brimming with gratitude and a flicker of hope. The next weeks sped by in a rewarding blur. At the Foundation's office, Marissa thrived, handling communications for local charities. She found a sense of purpose that had felt impossible after Daniel's betrayal. Even better, Gregory's gentle mentorship and unwavering support made each day less daunting. Marissa had never been comfortable with public speaking. But when Gregory asked her to introduce the Foundation's new outreach program at a gala, she found herself standing in front of a microphone, heart hammering. She took a deep breath and began. "A year ago, I was lost. I had no job, no home, and no idea how I would raise my child alone. But one act of kindness changed everything." The audience hushed, eyes locked on her. She spoke about resilience, about rebuilding a life from the ashes of heartbreak, about the importance of giving people second chances, not just in love, but in life. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. Gregory, standing nearby, clapped the loudest. Later that night, as they left the gala, he smiled at her. "You know," he said, "I think you've found your calling." And maybe, Marissa realized, he was right. Her belly grew, and with it, a sense of calm. She still had nightmares about Daniel's infidelity, but each time, Gregory's quiet friendship anchored her. They shared lunches, laughing over funny anecdotes from project visits. Sometimes, he'd invite her for dinner at a casual eatery, nothing fancy, always ensuring she felt comfortable. The tabloids, fixated on bigger celebrity fish, paid them no heed. Marissa relished the privacy. Over time, their bond deepened beyond professional respect. Gregory's empathy extended to shopping for baby items. He once shyly presented her with a small stuffed teddy bear, stating every child should have a faithful companion. She accepted with an emotional smile, not missing the care in his eyes. She began to suspect he felt more than mere benevolence, but it was unspoken. The notion both thrilled and frightened her. She wasn't sure she could handle romance after Daniel's betrayal. Then came the day Gregory offered her a new living arrangement. He had a property across town, spacious, secure, with staff on site. He insisted it was vacant and that she should stay free of rent. "Let me help you have a stress-free environment for the baby," he said softly. Torn between pride and practicality, Marissa eventually conceded, her finances still shaky. She moved in, feeling a mixture of amazement and apprehension at the plush surroundings. Under that roof, her daily routine blossomed into a dreamlike, calm morning walks in the manicured garden, working on foundation projects from a cozy home office, receiving checkups with top-tier doctors courtesy of Gregory's connections. Meanwhile, their relationship tiptoed a thin line between close friendship and budding affection. She was no fool. She recognized the warmth in Gregory's gaze, the protective way he hovered, ensuring she never felt alone or overwhelmed. But even as she settled into this newfound peace, a small voice inside whispered, "What if Daniel returns? What if her heart never truly heals from the past?" She pushed those worries aside, focusing on the present, because for once in her life she felt safe, valued, and on the brink of a happiness she hadn't dared to imagine after heartbreak. It happened on a muggy afternoon, months after Marissa had moved into Gregory's property. She was strolling near a local grocery store, having taken a break from her usual driver, craving a bit of normalcy. Her baby bump was now unmistakable. Nearly 8 months along, people greeted her politely, some even offering compliments about the joyous event soon to come. Then a voice behind her froze her in place. "Marissa, is that really you?" She turned, heart lurching. "Daniel." He stood a few paces away, looking older, thinner perhaps, but those familiar eyes burned with astonishment. She blinked, adrenaline surging. "Daniel, what are you doing here?" He approached, gaze drifting to her pregnant belly, shock transmuting into confusion. "You're pregnant? God, you look wow." Her pulse hammered. She forced composure. "Yes. It's been months since we parted ways. Life moves on." He raked a hand through his hair. "I tried to call you, sent messages. You changed your number, blocked me on social media. I had no clue." Marissa braced herself, pushing aside painful memories. "We ended things, remember?" I had nothing left to say. She turned to leave, but he stepped forward. "Wait, please. Let me speak, just for a minute." His voice held a desperation that tugged at her heartstrings, despite everything. She sighed. "1 minute," she conceded silently. They found a quiet bench at the store's entrance. He exhaled heavily. "Marissa, the first messed up I know. I regret that affair Andrea meant nothing. My job was stressful. I felt trapped. But that's no excuse. I realize now how badly I hurt you." She stared, unmoved. "It's too late, Daniel. I gave you so many chances to fix things before you cheated." Her hand hovered protectively over her belly. "And now I have someone else in my life. Someone who respects me." A flicker of pain crossed his features. "I heard rumors you were living with some rich guy, Gregory Ashford, right? Everyone in Houston knows about him. Are you just using him as a rebound?" Her anger flared. "Don't you dare. He gave me a job, a place to live, an unwavering kindness. Something you withheld." She paused, tears stinging. "And for your information, this baby is not yours." She spat the words, though they also carried a pang of sadness. Once they'd dreamed of children together. Daniel's shoulders slumped. "I guess that's final then. You've replaced me with a millionaire." Marissa clenched her jaw. "I replaced you with self-respect, Daniel. The millionaire part is incidental. I'm not planning to let you worm your way back into my life." He swallowed, eyes flicking to the baby bump again. "Maybe I still love you, Marissa. People make mistakes. Could you at least consider giving me a chance?" She rose from the bench, trembling with anger. "Love means not breaking vows for cheap thrills. You gave that away. So no, I can't." Now, stay out of my life, he called after her as she walked away, tears pooling in her eyes. She didn't look back. The swirl of old hurts reminded her how far she'd come. But an uneasy feeling clung to her, suspecting Daniel might not relent so easily. The final battle for her future, her happiness, had begun, with Daniel's reappearance signaling the unraveling of any serenity she'd found. In the days following that chance encounter, Daniel's presence loomed over Marissa's thoughts like a thundercloud. She confided in Gregory about the incident, uncertain how he'd react. Calmly, Gregory listened, jaw tensing at mentions of Daniel's cheating. "Do you think he'll cause trouble?" he asked quietly. Marissa shrugged, hugging her belly. "I'm not sure. He sounded regretful, but also resentful about me living with you." She paused, meeting Gregory's gaze. "I never intended for it to become public knowledge that I'm with a millionaire. I don't want drama." Gregory nodded. "If he tries to bother you, we'll handle it. You deserve peace." He left the matter at that, but Marissa sensed an undercurrent of protectiveness in him. Meanwhile, Daniel was far from giving up. He began sending her flowers, apologetic notes, even leaving voicemails that toggled between contrite and pleading. At first, she ignored them. Yet when one of his calls implied he wanted to see her just to talk, she texted him firmly, "We have nothing to discuss. Please respect my wishes." Still, he showed up at the foundation's office one afternoon, waiting in the lobby to catch a glimpse of her. Flustered employees recognized him from old Facebook pictures Marissa once shared. She emerged from her desk, aghast. "Daniel, this is my workplace. You can't just appear here." He spread his arms, voice choked. "I had to. You're shutting me out. I want to fix what I broke. I can't stand the idea of you having a child with someone else, living happily while I'm miserable." She scowled, mustering calm. "Your misery is your doing, Daniel. You made choices." She turned to lead him aside, not wanting a scene. "I appreciate that you're sorry, but it's too late. I'm done." He slumped, eyes wild with regret. "I can change. I have changed. Just give me a chance, let me prove it." Marissa closed her eyes, remembering the heartbreak of discovering him with Andrea. She recalled all the nights of waiting, the betrayal cutting her deeply. "No, Daniel, I can't go through that again." She tried to walk away, but he grabbed her wrist. "So you'd prefer a man who only loves you for show? For pity? He's a millionaire, he can do better." "Don't you see you're out of your league?" Rage flared in her chest. "How dare you? Gregory values me as a person." "Something you never truly did." She snatched her arm free, ignoring Daniel's protests. Then security guard arrived, escorting Daniel out. The entire office buzzed with gossip. That night, as Marissa recounted the incident to Gregory at home, tears welled in her eyes. "I'm so tired of this. I just want to move forward." Gregory touched her shoulder gently. "You will, but maybe we need to be more proactive about ensuring your safety. Let me assign a discreet security detail for you, just in case." Though uncomfortable with the idea, she nodded, realizing Daniel's desperation might escalate. Her baby was priority. And while it pained her to see Daniel unraveling, she recognized they were far beyond reconciliation. The cracks in their marriage had grown into a chasm neither bridging with empty apologies nor wealth could fix. Daniel's repeated attempts to contact Marissa drew attention from local tabloids sniffing for scandal. One minor gossip blog posted a snippet. Rumors swirl that pregnant ex-wife of tech billionaire Gregory Ashford's living partner was spotted in a tense argument with her former husband. Is trouble brewing in paradise? Marissa cringed at the sensational headline. She was not Gregory's living partner, but the media rarely worried about accuracy. Gregory, unbothered by trifling gossip, told his PR team to keep silent. "We have bigger priorities," he told Marissa calmly. "Let them speculate. Yet the media speculation triggered a fresh wave of scrutiny. Paparazzi occasionally loitered near Gregory's property, snapping photos. One day, they captured Marissa stepping out with her baby bump, escorted by a security detail. The next morning's tabloids splashed images with sensational captions. Ashford's baby mama. Mystery surrounds pregnant woman's ex-husband in the wings. Mortified, Marissa worried about her professional credibility at the foundation. She vented to Gregory one evening, "I hate that people are framing me as some gold digger or that my ex-husband is stirring drama. I just want a normal life." Gregory brushed aside a lock of her hair, eyes gentle. "I understand. Let me reassure you, no matter what the press says, your job is secure. You've done stellar work and I trust you wholeheartedly." Marissa exhaled relief. Despite the swirl of negativity, Gregory's unwavering support buoyed her. She realized how drastically life had changed once. She was scraping by in heartbreak, now living in comfort with a man of quiet compassion. She felt a mixture of gratitude and guilt, recalling how Daniel once had her heart. Could she have prevented the meltdown if she'd recognized Daniel's restlessness earlier? As the gossip raged, Daniel seemed to feed off it, painting himself as a wronged spouse in certain social media circles. He posted cryptic statuses, implying he was fighting for the love of my life. Some netizens gobbled it up, while others ridiculed him for past cheating. The fiasco made Marissa's phone buzz incessantly, with intrusive queries from old acquaintances. One particularly rough morning, she found Daniel waiting across from Gregory's gates. He brandished an envelope, claiming it contained proof he'd changed. She refused to read it, swiftly heading inside. The guard shooed him away. Later, curiosity nudged her to glance at its contents. She found a rambling letter about how he'd ended the affair with Andrea, sought therapy, rediscovered God, etc. But nowhere did he acknowledge the heartbreak of her pregnancy. Nowhere did he mention how he'd remedy the trust he obliterated. The letter only reaffirmed her decision. Daniel might be remorseful, but the scars ran too deep. She penned a curt reply. "I respect your journey, but it doesn't involve me. I've moved on. Please do the same." And so, in the swirl of media speculation, Daniel's desperation, and Gregory's calm support, Marissa stood firm. The baby's due date loomed, bringing a sense of finality once that child arrived. Any illusions about returning to Daniel would vanish. She was forging a new future, scandal or not, with or without the shadow of her ex-husband. The next act in this drama was about to unfold, culminating in a showdown nobody could predict. As Marissa's pregnancy approached its 8th month, she found herself waging an internal battle. Though she despised Daniel's betrayal, her memories weren't all tainted. Late-night recollections of simpler times when Daniel would surprise her with homemade dinners or spontaneously dance with her in their tiny living room snuck into her thoughts. She questioned if the new life with Gregory, while idyllic, was built on love or gratitude. Her confusion peaked one evening when Daniel managed to corner her at a local prenatal yoga class. She'd gone alone, craving some independence. The session ended, and as she stepped out onto the sidewalk, Daniel appeared, panting from a jog. "Marissa, please, just 1 minute," he pleaded. She almost turned to leave, but something in his voice, the rawness, made her pause. "What do you want, Daniel?" she asked wearily. He swallowed, tears gleaming in his eyes. "I can't get you out of my head. I've done everything to fix my life. I ended the affair, cut ties with shady friends, started therapy. I've changed, I swear. I want to be there for you, for the baby, even if it's not mine." Marissa's heart clenched. "Daniel, you don't owe me or this baby anything. I'm with Gregory now, he's supporting me." Daniel pressed a hand over his chest. "But do you love him, or do you love the stability he offers? We had real love once. That doesn't just vanish." She blinked tears away. The truth was complicated. She had genuine affection for Gregory, but it was overshadowed by caution. her trust scarred by Daniel's betrayal. "You lost your right to call it love the day I found you with Andrea," she said, bitterness lacing her tone. He grimaced. "I know. But can't people change?" Emotionally spent, Marissa exhaled. "Even if you have changed, that doesn't erase what you did. We're divorced for a reason." Yet as he walked her to her car, a small part of her felt old familiar pangs, memories of their simpler days, the ring of his laughter. She found her resolve wobbling. Daniel noticed, pressing further. "Let me show you I can do better." She broke away, voice trembling. "Stop it. I'm pregnant with another man's child. You're not part of this. Accept it." She slid into her car, slamming the door, tears threatening to blind her as she drove away. That night, she returned to Gregory's property, disheartened and confused. She barely managed a polite greeting before excusing herself to her bedroom. Gregory, concerned, knocked gently, but she feigned fatigue. She lay awake, replaying Daniel's words, cursing herself for the pang of sympathy. She knew Daniel was manipulative, but a piece of her still reeled from their shattered love. In the darkness, she wondered, am I truly prepared to commit my future to Gregory? Or is Daniel's second chance feasible? Anxiety warred with logic, overshadowing the innocence of the unborn child, stirring within her. Tomorrow, she'd have to confront these tangled emotions, because time was running out, and once the baby arrived, there'd be no easy reversion to the past. Marissa's internal turmoil didn't go unnoticed. Gregory sensed her restlessness, the brief flickers of tears in her eyes when she thought he wasn't looking. One evening after dinner, he guided her to a quiet sitting room overlooking the property's moonlit garden. They settled on a love seat, the night's hush enveloping them. "Marissa," he began gently, "I can tell you're unsettled. Please be honest with me. Is Daniel's reappearance affecting your feelings?" Her eyes darted away, shame coloring her cheeks. "I'm sorry. I know you've done so much. I sometimes question if I'm truly over him, or if I'm just clinging to memories. It's confusing." Gregory breathed in, steadying himself. "I understand heartbreak doesn't vanish overnight. But I need to ask, do you see a future with me, or are you unsure?" She swallowed thickly. "Gregory, you've been my rock. I do care about you deeply. But I'm scared. We've never labeled this relationship. It's been so sweet, yet overshadowed by my painful past. And now, Daniel wants back in, claiming he's changed." Gregory's gaze flickered with hurt, but also compassion. "I can't pretend I'm happy about Daniel's attempts. But I won't force you to choose me out of gratitude or guilt. I want you to be certain." Tears welled in her eyes. "You deserve better than my confusion. I never expected to find this comfort after my marriage collapsed. My heart's in 1,000 pieces." He reached for her hand, voice low. "Let me give you something. Not an ultimatum, just a confession of how I feel." He inhaled, trembling. "I love you, Marissa. It's not pity or fleeting attraction. It's real. I can't imagine my life without you or this baby, even though it's not mine by blood. Let me be a father figure, a partner, if you'll let me." Emotion crashed over her. She wept silently, touched by his sincerity. "Gregory, I think I love you too, in a way that feels safer, more genuine than anything I had with Daniel. But I'm terrified of making the wrong choice." He squeezed her hand. "Take your time. You don't have to decide tonight. But know I'm here, ready to build a life with you. If Daniel's part of your heart, talk to him. See if closure is possible." He paused, eyes glinting with a tender acceptance. "I won't stand in your way as long as you're truly happy." Her tears spilled, gratitude and heartbreak mingling. She'd never known such selfless devotion. In that moment, she realized that Gregory's love was not controlling or resentful, but open-handed. That knowledge both comforted and frightened her. She nodded, unable to speak, and he drew her into a gentle embrace. They stayed like that, the hush of the night broken only by her muffled sobs. The baby gave a little kick, as if urging her forward. She clung to Gregory, understanding that real love could exist without demands. But the final resolution with Daniel still loomed. She had to face him once more, if only to bury the ghost of their broken union. Fate aligned a final confrontation. Marissa decided to meet Daniel in a public park near the old neighborhood they once called home. She told Gregory she needed closure and would handle it. He didn't love the idea but respected her autonomy. On a sunny afternoon, Marissa arrived at the park, heart pounding. Daniel waited by a wooden bench, eyes brightening when he saw her. She noticed he wore a new jacket, haircut neat, as if trying to appear reformed. She approached, arms folded protectively over her bump. They exchanged awkward greetings. Daniel's voice trembled with emotion. "You look radiant. Pregnancy suits you." She forced a polite nod. "What did you want to talk about, Daniel? Let's keep this civil." He perched on the bench, exhaling heavily. "Marissa, I've spent months reflecting on how I destroyed us. I was immature, chasing cheap thrills. Losing you was the worst mistake of my life. I want you back. Even if the baby's not mine, I'll raise it as my own. I swear." Her throat tightened. "I appreciate you realize your fault. But love isn't about throwing away everything, then picking it up again at your whim. You betrayed me, and that betrayal changed me forever." His gaze flickered with desperation. "People can learn from mistakes. I have. I've started a new job, got a promotion. I'm stable now. We can start fresh." She felt anger stir, mingled with pity. "You think a promotion wipes away infidelity?" My heart shattered, Daniel. "No job or apology can mend that instantly. Besides, I've moved on with someone else, Gregory. He's shown me kindness that you never did, not fully." Daniel winced. "He's just a wealthy man dazzled by the idea of playing hero. He doesn't know our history like I do." She shook her head. "He respects me, Daniel. That's all I've ever wanted." Her voice turned firm. "I'm building a future with him. This baby, while not yours, deserves a stable father figure, which Gregory's willing to be." Daniel slumped, tears glinting in his eyes. "So you're sure? You won't even consider me?" Marissa's lip quivered. She recalled the fleeting good times, the intimacy they once shared. But the memory of betrayal overshadowed everything. "I'm sure," she whispered. "I hope you find peace, but I can't be part of your redemption story." He exhaled a ragged breath, chest heavy with regret. "I guess that's it, then." Slowly he stood, searching her face one last time. "I wish I could turn back time. I'm sorry, truly." She nodded, tears threatening. "Goodbye, Daniel." He walked away, posture slumped, leaving her with a mixture of sorrow and relief. She rested a hand on her belly, inhaling the crisp park air. The final conversation had sealed it. Daniel was her past, a painful lesson in heartbreak. Her future glimmered with the promise of Gregory's unwavering devotion and her baby's bright tomorrow. Quietly she left the park, each step lighter. The drama for now had reached its end. All that remained was to embrace the life she'd chosen, free from the chains of an unfaithful ex and open to the gentle, steady love of a man who valued her entirely. 2 weeks later, Marissa's due date edged closer, her belly a symbol of renewal. She continued living with Gregory, their bond deepening daily. He'd begun to transition some of his responsibilities at the foundation, ensuring he'd be fully present once the baby arrived. Late one night, Marissa felt the first pangs of labor. Mild at first, they swiftly escalated into sharper contractions. Gregory awoke at her cry of pain, immediately switching into caretaker mode. He called the hospital, gathered the pre-packed bag, and helped her into the car. Her heart raced with both excitement and terror. This was it. The hospital staff recognized them. Gregory, known for philanthropic donations, was greeted with polite smiles, but the focus remained on Marissa's comfort. Hours of labor ensued, pain rolling in waves. Gregory stood by, offering ice chips, whispered encouragement, and a calm presence. She clutched his hand through each contraction, tears mixing with sweat. All the heartbreak and drama receded from her mind, replaced by the primal act of bringing life into the world. Finally, as dawn broke, a new cry split the hospital room's hush, a tiny, wailing baby. Marissa's chest flooded with relief and love. The doctor placed the newborn, a healthy baby boy, onto her chest. Overwhelmed, she wept, holding her child close. Gregory, tears shining in his eyes, gently touched the baby's soft cheek. Marissa locked eyes with Gregory, the magnitude of the moment overwhelming. "Thank you," she whispered, voice raw with emotion. He leaned in, pressing a tender kiss to her forehead. "No, thank you for letting me share this miracle," he replied. Later, in a quiet postpartum room, Marissa cradled her son while Gregory phoned the property staff to share the good news. The baby's tiny fingers curled around Marissa's thumb, and she felt an indescribable surge of maternal devotion. She named him Caleb, a nod to her grandfather who first taught her about steadfast love. Gregory returned, glancing at the baby with reverence. "He's perfect," he murmured. Marissa's heart warmed, seeing how genuine his emotion was. This was no fleeting sense of obligation. She recognized in his eyes the devotion of a father figure. While the world might label Gregory as just the millionaire caretaker, she saw the man who had woven himself into her life with kindness and understanding. As Caleb dozed, Gregory and Marissa briefly discussed plans, arranging a comfortable nursery back home, scheduling pediatric visits, balancing her eventual return to the foundation if she wished. The future felt bright, even though Daniel's shadowy presence had once threatened to disrupt them. She knew now, after that final park confrontation, that Daniel had relinquished his hold. She was free to love Gregory fully, to raise Caleb in a home devoid of mistrust and betrayal. In the hush of that hospital room, the new family, mother, child, and a man determined to be the father in every sense, found themselves at the dawn of a fresh chapter. The drama of an unfaithful past lay behind them, the promise of unconditional love stretched ahead. Over the following months, Marissa settled into a routine that felt like a dream. She resided with Gregory in his airy estate, a place that once seemed too grand, but now felt like a protective cocoon for her and baby Caleb. The staff, respectful and discreet, doted on the new arrival, ensuring Marissa had support but never intrusion. Morning sunrises found Gregory walking with Caleb in a stroller around the manicured grounds, letting Marissa catch a bit more rest. Lunchtime saw them sharing laughs, Gregory occasionally cradling Caleb while discussing foundation updates. Evenings, they'd cuddle in the living area, reading baby books or quietly sipping tea while Caleb slept. The synergy of their partnership anchored them in contentment. Public curiosity piqued. Of course, some tabloids attempted to label Marissa as the lucky woman snaring Ashford's fortune. Others, more kindly, praised Gregory's philanthropic heart, painting them as a charitable duo raising a child. Marissa learned to ignore the chatter. She found solace in seeing how Caleb thrived, healthy and secure, free from the tumult that once threatened to overshadow his birth. Each day, Gregory subtly invited Marissa to consider them a family, not just two coexisting adults. He never pressured her to reciprocate his love, but gently reminded her that his feelings ran deep. She, in turn, felt her walls crumble. She saw how Gregory unflinchingly embraced fatherhood for a child not biologically his. That act alone displayed a love more profound than she'd believed possible. By Caleb's 3-month mark, Marissa felt her heart fully rekindled. The bitterness she once harbored from Daniel's betrayal became a distant memory, replaced by a sense of wholeness. She never envisioned life could be this stable, this nurturing. Gregory was indeed the partner she needed, someone who listened, respected boundaries, and never let ambition overshadow affection. Occasionally, Daniel's name surfaced in her thoughts. She wondered if he'd truly changed or found someone else. Yet the pang was fleeting. She recognized that their chapter was conclusively over. As for Gregory, she realized that a piece of him still worried about stepping beyond caretaker into husband. She sensed it in his occasional hesitance about discussing the future. Perhaps he feared scaring her off. Finally, one starry night, after tucking Caleb into the nursery, Gregory led her to the garden. They strolled among fragrant blooms, the moonlight casting a silvery sheen. At a secluded arch, he paused, turning to face her, a gentle trembling in his voice. "Marissa," he said, "this life we're building, it's more than I dared hope for. I meant every word I said before. I love you. I want us to be a family in name and soul. Will you consider marriage?" "Not immediately, just. Let's start that conversation." She felt tears of joy brim, heart pounding. She recalled the heartbreak that once overshadowed everything. But looking into Gregory's earnest gaze, she realized that second chances at love do exist. "Yes," she whispered, stepping into his arms. "Let's talk about that. I'm ready." Marissa's yes wasn't a formal proposal acceptance, but an invitation to plan a future together, one shaped by mutual respect, grounded in the experiences that had shaped them. Over the weeks, they quietly explored the idea of marriage, with Marissa clarifying that she wanted a simple ceremony, free from the flashy pomp that once overshadowed her life with Daniel. Gregory wholeheartedly agreed. "I don't need a grand spectacle," he assured her. "Just close friends, some family, and a vow that this time, love endures." The phrase, "this time," struck both of them. They'd each known heartbreak her with Daniel, him with a previous relationship lost to misunderstandings. Now they approached love with deeper humility. They informed the foundation staff of their intentions, which earned broad smiles and subtle cheers. The tabloids caught wind, but with little detail, they could only speculate. Some spun romantic fairy tale narratives about the pregnant woman who found a millionaire. Others cynically predicted it wouldn't last. Marissa, supported by Gregory's unwavering calm, disregarded the noise. In a heartfelt chat one afternoon, Gregory told her of his own heartbreak, an engagement broken years back because he'd been too consumed with business expansions. He confessed that helping Marissa had initially been an attempt at personal atonement, though it evolved into genuine admiration and then love. She found comfort in knowing they both carried scars from misguided priorities. It made their bond feel more authentic. Meanwhile, Daniel had gone silent. No more sudden appearances or letters. A mutual acquaintance told Marissa he'd moved to Dallas for a fresh start. She felt an odd mix of relief and pity, hoping he truly found redemption on his own path. She prayed that meant no final disruptions to her blossoming happiness. As time passed, baby Caleb thrived under the gentle routine of this new household. He giggled whenever Gregory swooped him into the air or read him silly bedtime stories. With every coo and laugh, Marissa's conviction solidified. She truly believed that letting Gregory in was the best decision for her child and for herself. Finally, on a warm Saturday, Gregory led her to the same orchard where they'd once visited on a foundation project. Beneath an ancient oak, he knelt this time with a simple ring he'd chosen carefully. No paparazzi, no staged glitz, just nature's hush, an orchard's sweet fragrance, and his sincere question, "Marissa, mother of my child in spirit, partner of my heart, will you marry me?" Her tears spilled freely. She nodded, voice thick with emotion. "Yes, Gregory, 1,000 times yes." He slipped the ring onto her finger, a modest band with a single diamond, a reflection of understated elegance, just like his love. As they embraced, the orchard seemed to whisper approval. This was no forced second chance. It was a new beginning, seeded by heartbreak, yet nurtured by genuine devotion. And so, with a gentle vow sealed under the oak's leafy canopy, they crossed from a life overshadowed by old betrayal into a realm of unshakable unity. The circle of heartbreak was closed. Marissa, once abandoned and pregnant, was now cherished and certain, forging a life with the millionaire who saw beyond her scars and into her true worth. A year later, the city buzzed with rumors that Gregory Ashford had quietly wed Marissa in a private ceremony at a countryside inn near Austin. Only close friends and a handful of relatives attended. The media tried to glean details, but the couple declined to share beyond a simple statement: "We joyfully celebrated our union among loved ones. We're grateful for privacy as we continue our philanthropic work and family life." In that small wedding, Marissa wore a flowing ivory gown. Caleb, toddling around at nearly a year old, served as their ring bearer, eliciting laughter from the intimate gathering. With tears in their eyes, Marissa and Gregory exchanged vows that spoke of second chances, mutual respect, and unwavering commitment. The ring glinted on her finger, a symbol of a love rebuilt from the ashes of heartbreak. After the ceremony, they moved forward with philanthropic projects, more unified than ever. Marissa thrived in her role at the foundation, championing programs for single mothers, determined to help others who faced situations like hers. Gregory supported her with resources and moral backing, admiring her passion. As for Daniel, word reached Marissa that he'd remarried, or at least gotten engaged, to someone he met in Dallas. She felt relief, even a bit of happiness for him. Time had dulled the sting of his betrayal, replaced by gratitude for the growth and wisdom it forced upon her. She wished him no ill. He remained a distant memory from a life that once was. On a crisp autumn morning, Gregory, Marissa, and a playful toddler Caleb strolled through the orchard behind their newly built ranch house. The orchard, reminiscent of that fateful day Gregory proposed, was now part of their property, a testament to the merging of their personal and philanthropic lives. They walked hand in hand, watching Caleb squeal at fluttering leaves. Joy radiated in every step. Marissa gazed at her husband, warmth filling her chest. She thought of the tumultuous path that led here, Daniel's infidelity, her painful departure, the precarious months living in borrowed spaces, the chance meeting with a kind millionaire, the swirl of media drama, the final confrontation with Daniel, and the sweet acceptance of a man who proved wealth needn't overshadow love. It all coalesced into one truth: life's darkest turns can lead to the brightest dawns if hearts remain open. Caleb fussed, so Gregory scooped him up. The toddler calmed at once, nestling contently. Marissa smiled, brushing a leaf from Caleb's soft hair. They continued walking, the orchard's canopy shimmering with golden sunlight. In that serene moment, they embodied a truth that no scandal or heartbreak could tarnish. Healing and love can blossom from even the deepest wounds. Marissa, once just the pregnant ex-wife of a cheating man, was now cherished by a partner who saw her strength, honored her dreams, and helped her rewrite her destiny in gentle, luminous strokes. The tumult of infidelity, heartbreak, and an unexpected pregnancy once threatened to consume Marissa's spirit. Yet, in her darkest hour, she found not only the courage to walk away, but also discovered a new path with the compassionate millionaire who saw her true worth. Daniel's remorseful pleas were no match for the profound love and respect Marissa built with Gregory, a man whose wealth was overshadowed by his genuine heart. The arrival of baby Caleb sealed their bond, proving that shattered vows can lead to brighter horizons when guided by hope, resilience, and unwavering support. Thank you for joining this compelling journey of betrayal, perseverance, and unexpected redemption. If Marissa's story of heartbreak turned to happiness stirred your heart, Please hit the like button, share this video with friends who believe in the power of second chances, and subscribe to our channel for more stories spotlighting life's dramatic twists and boundless possibilities. Your support empowers us to continue weaving tales of love's resilience, reminding us all that even in the aftermath of heartbreak, dreams can be rekindled and hearts can find a way to heal.